right, everybody, we're going to get started again. I'm Aave. I'm going to be walking you through everything happening on this session stage today. And this should be another familiar face if you've been tuning in this morning. Jonny, thank you again for joining us. I think this is, your third session today already. Very busy day.
Yeah.
And as everybody knows, LinkPool is a notice service company and a major part of the Chainlink infrastructure. So I think now we're going to go into a more technical talk here and give us a deep dive onto everything happening over at LinkPool. So thanks, Jonny. I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you. Yeah, so good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This deep dive session is really, I'm going to be demoing some of the latest work that we've been doing on the market. Pretty excited to show it off. It's been in the work for quite some time now. It's been many hours, man hours spent on this thing. So let me share my screen, and I will start running you through it. Feel free to start asking questions as I go along. But pretty much what I've shared now is going to be the new, the new homepage, landing page for the Chainlink market. Essentially, what we've been doing, and we hinted to it in, I think, a previous article about the future work that we was doing on the marketplace, is that we was essentially turning it into full analytical, a lot more data driven. So alongside just like listing nodes, jobs, adapters, stuff like that, we was going to actually show allow people to visualize the network in a far greater degree than they sort of ever have done before. There's the feed UI, but the feed UI is very specific. You can view a feed in real time, whereas this is sort of an overall high level metrics view. So just to kick off, is live feed updates. If you were watching then, you will have seen it updated. So like the FX feeds kick off at the start of the hour. You've got bar charts straight away. You can, so like yesterday, like yesterday at midnight, there was 5,710 links spent in rewards each day. There was over 13,000 transactions. You can see, the rolling average for how many Chainlink requests there are in a day. So over a 24-hour period, you can see it's 4% down from yesterday. But most recently at 12:48, there was over 1,000 requests in a day. You can see as well the amount of ETH spent per day on responses. It's like 60 Ethereum, which is pretty wild. When this was when the gas prices were really quite high and we were doing development on this, you seen that spiking at like 150, 160, and then the current average gas price as well. So you can see how it changes throughout the day. Like yesterday it was 5:30, and then it's the real-time update. So that's just the landing page. It's I'm only scratching the surface really. If I click the network metrics page, you get more of a real-time summary. So you can see per day. So at the minute there's 64 active feeds. There's over 10,000 transactions a day. Current average gas price. This dashboard is a lot more real time, so it's live updating. The data and the queries are instant. So it's a lot more real time. You can see that in the last 24 hours, there's been nearly 4,500 in link rewards a day, and it's pretty cool. It's a rolling average as well, so you can see over time how it changes. You can change that to like the last 7 days as well. The top feed by transactions, so it's like XHV. At the minute, that's 582.16. It's like interpolated a little bit, so you do get some decimals at some points, but 582 transactions a day. Ethereum at 503, and that's based on new rounds, like actual requests starting off the Chainlink feeds and the responses coming in as well. This one, the table underneath is like a real-time, real-time view. This updates. It polls every 5 seconds. It mostly updates every 30 seconds. You can see it shows the fastest response. And at the minute, there was all like super quick. So I mean, this goes to show the strength of some nodes. You know, they will have got a request in one block, and sometimes on Ethereum you get like 2 consecutive blocks after each other really quickly, and they've got themselves in the next block in a very short amount of time. You can see the gas costs and the rewards. So it's good as a node operator as well, because you can go in and just look straight away and be like, right, you know, this feeds like negative now, or we're making money on it. So you can see at the current gas prices based on rewards for these feeds. You know, it's node operators are making money, but it's not, you know, it's not too much. Oh, you know what? I didn't even mention as well. I've just gone straight onto dark theme. But yeah, one of the updates as part of this, what we're going to be rolling is the dark theme as well. So I can show you the new. You know, this is the old school like light theme, which, you know, you will have seen many times before on the marketplace. You can go down is, you know, typical. And then if I switch back over, dark mode. But yeah, ever since we added dark mode to the market, I never go back to using the light mode now, and I suspect quite a lot of the people who use it will be the same. But yeah, it's really cool. So you can see, you know, you can see this updating in real time, like the time it was last triggered, the last answer, the deviation as well. So like on a weekend, most of the, you know, these, because we're on a weekend, most of these markets are closed, so they're not changing. Whereas you can see like the trend for like different feeds. I'll come back to this as well and show you when it's like different feeds firing. I suppose, you know, since this is a session, have you got any questions before I start going on to different areas of the market? So Chainlink God, it depends on the metric. The solution we're using to get a bit more technical is Prometheus. One of the quirks with Prometheus is that it doesn't support backfilling. Unfortunately, it's on the roadmap. They're saying they're going to do it in the future. When we go live on this, we'll probably have around a month and a half's worth of data, maybe a bit more for certain metrics. I wish I could do more, but we've sort of like changed the metrics as time's gone on, and we've had to like reset and stuff like that. But you know, as part of, I'll get onto this in a bit, but as part of this update, you know, it comes with an open API, so anyone will be able to query this API, and there'll be some there'll be a good thing about it as well, what I'll show you in not too long, because it uses Prometheus. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. But for free, you will be able to query 90 days, so 3 months. So when the data starts collecting, like you will, yeah, you know, you'll be able to query 3 months worth of data for free. And we pretty much do that. It's the upper limit. You know, if we offer more than 90 days, then the amount of load it puts on the solution and everything, and in the back end is quite large. But you know, like in terms of the design strategy for this, it wasn't really more of like a reputation service like SDL are doing. It's more a real time get a view of how the network is doing. And then, you know, in the future, once there's more data and it becomes more established, we might extend the offering and allow people to you know, like pay a small amount and be able to query up to like a year's worth of data and have like really really long really high like API limits, for example. But to move on, so the landing page, one of the really cool things about what we're doing now is, because we're getting all this we're getting all the data about the feeds, the nodes, and the network in general. Anytime when you go to the feeds page, you'll see the spark lines. So you can see just from a high level, you know, what the feeds are actually doing. If I change to the grid view, then it becomes a bit better and is more detail. And you can actually hover over and see the answers. So it's like you can see at the minute, gas price is reported at like 87 Gwei. So it's, you know, it's a lot of data. Just, you know, when you land on this page is a lot to take in. So to dive into the next part, let's pick a feed. Let's go fast gas and gwei, because that's always exciting. So like now, when you hit a feed, straight away you'll be taken to the metrics page. Okay, I'll answer some questions later on, but so you can see like the aggregated answer for the feed. So like this is since, the 6 days ago is a time selector, so you can like narrow this down. I can select 24 hours and it'll change it. By default, when you load up, it's a week. So you can see over time, the amount the gas price actually fluctuates in a single day. It always sort of goes in waves, which is pretty cool. Another feature which is really nice is showing individual responses. So, we get the aggregated answer, but you can actually just really quickly view the answers from different nodes. So for example, you see that, and this is why different API sources are, very important. You can see at that point in time, so LinkPull, we was reporting 109 gwei, some people was like 120, 125, 91.03. So you can see actually, the deviation from different nodes, and on some other feeds I'll go on, is actually some, you can really see where APIs have started sort of like deviating quite a lot. And I'm taking note of the questions when you keep on asking them, by the way, and I'll sort of loop back to them. So like on-chain response latency, so you can see we're at the top and some of the other nodes, link rewards per day, so you can actually sort of see how much the nodes are earning per day on a feed, correlated to the amount of updates. So you can see like per day, for each node on here, they're earning 2.88 link, which is cool. And then actually the revenue per day as well for each feed. So at this point in time, it was actually negative. So overall, the node operators were losing, as a whole at least, we're losing $88 a day. That's probably because gas price was stupid high at that point. So they were spending $433 as a whole on gas. And then, later since, when gas prices have calmed down, you can see they're in a profit. So it's really cool to be able to get a high level view. To loop back to some questions, Adam asked about managed nodes versus plans for NAS. So managed nodes is very much an enterprise solution. We have a very high threshold in terms of like how much link you can hold for being able to apply for that. The price point is going to be a lot higher than Node as a service, whereas Node as a service is more like templated. We don't run it day to day. We manage the infrastructure and make sure your node is actually functioning as is, and we'll be able to give you a large range of APIs to be able to use like out of the box. But it's not us managing it hands-on and being able to like consult with the managed nodes. In terms of like the plans for NAS, we've not announced anything yet. But we've thought about it. We've got some ideas in mind, and they're not going to be too expensive. Are there gas costs and rewards on average per call per node on a total day? Yeah, so I've just shown you that for the feeds, but I'll go on to the next section as well, which is the node metrics. So if we go back, as well, while I'm on the feeds bit, I'll just show you like what I mean. Sometimes we talked about this on the panel, but like the qualities of some APIs. So I think if I go on the Flux, so yeah, one, if you're familiar with like the contract types for Chainlink, is the new world, like the new contracts that are going to be released and sort of used in production very soon are the Flux aggregators, and we support. For metrics, we support the aggregators and the Flux aggregators. So we're ready for the future and when those go live. So you can see there, it's not actually the feed I was thinking about, but let me go back. I was just looking at one earlier. You know what? I'll just show show Bitcoin. Another point I've not sort of talked about on here is the deviation as well. So this is a pretty insightful chart. So the individual response deviation is the percentage deviation of the latest answer from the last aggregated answer. So from a monitoring point of view, you can sort of look at this and see how much the answers have deviated, and it takes into account how much the answers deviate from all the individual responses as well. Jay, to answer that question, yes. So we've been working with the SDL guys for quite some time, and we're more than looking forward to pulling in for service to be able to give scores and show metrics and sort of aggregate like third-party reputation providers. Even though we've got a lot of metrics on here, we're still not looking at being a reputation provider. We don't really feel it's perfect for doing that, and we just want to provide more of a real-time view into the network. So you can see, just like in terms of deviation there, you can see where between individual nodes, the price of like Bitcoin, I'm pointing at my screen, you can't see me pointing, I don't know why I'm doing that, but you can see just like there on the chart. So if I just like zoom in, you can see like where the answers between the nodes deviate. So it's really good for seeing just like a lot of in-depth metrics about the Chainlink network. LinkPull at the top again, just throw that in there. And yeah, like in terms of, I don't know if anyone's picked up on this before, but in terms of like the profit and sort of where the bulk of money comes from in terms of node operating at the minute, it's the 21 node feeds which are the highest like revenue earners. So it's like the Bitcoin feed and the Ethereum to USD feed as well. So you can see like between all the nodes, there is quite a lot of profit per day on here, like nearly 7K there and $500 in gas expenses. To show nodes, I feel like I could talk about this for a while and I've only got 10 minutes left. So this is another really cool section. So to dive into the LinkPull node, this is like the third sort of bulk of where the metrics lie. So you can see you get a further breakdown now of the link rewards per day, and this is cool as it's per feed as well. So you can see yesterday we earned 189 link across all the feeds, and then when you hover over, you can see per day on how much link you're making on the different feeds. So it's like 16 link there on it, 28 on Ethereum. The other feeds are the unknown unmatched feeds, so that can include like the Flux aggregators as well, what haven't been matched and stuff like that. And then there's the revenue per day chart as well, but for the individual nodes. So you can see, so for example, yesterday we spent over $1,000 on gas and had around 1.7K in profit from that gas expense, from those gas expenses. What's cool about this is the way that we actually work out like the USD value is because we've got all the answers from the feeds. So we've got the Ethereum to USD, like link to USD. This chart takes into account the real-time price values, so it doesn't just get the current link price or the current Ethereum price and then like calculate the amount. Because of the metric system, it works it out on a historical basis based on the price then, so it's a lot more accurate. You can see how many actual transactions per day. So like on the 25th, so we earned a lot more money then, and on the 25th there was like 889 responses. You can see where it peaks, and that'll take into account like the link market as well at that time. And another cool chart is the average on-chain response latency. So this takes into account all nodes. So it takes an average of the response latency across every single node on the network. So you can see, at any given point in time, other than that peak there, which I'm guessing there was like a large gas spike, maybe. I don't know, maybe not, ish. So, the LinkPull node is well under average for the time, which is pretty cool. You can see the average response deviation, the average gas price as well. So you can see, like, we've configured the LinkPull node pretty much when the gas goes really high, we end up sort of paying a lot more gas than other nodes. We like to be able to respond really quickly, even at high congestion times. Let me loop back and answer some questions. Oh yeah, so this isn't just LinkPull powered nodes. So just to show another feature, Dakota, there is you can click compare nodes at the top. And when you do that, so for example, what we like to dub the three amigos, which is like Chainlayer, Fuse, and us. So if I just select them, and then it'll calculate the metrics. Sorry, this will perform a bit better when is a lot of caching, but I've not actually brought this up recently. So you can see now you can compare the three nodes here. So like, for example, Fuse yesterday made 205 link, Chainlayer was 158, and we was 189. The profit per day as well for each node, so they're pretty level, but then on that day we was a lot less than like Chainlayer, which will deviate for like gas prices, gas expenses per day. So like Fuse must have like paid a lot for gas on that day, like had a lot of transactions. And then you can compare like response times as well, which is really cool. So like these three nodes, like LinkPull, Chainlayer, and Fuse, like amongst a few others, I'd say like Synthetix one and like simply VC and Aave, like have really strong response times. So you can actually like compare the response times from each nodes on average over a time frame. Will Chainlink nodes be able to connect to the Market Link API and deliver it to smart contracts? I'm not quite sure what you mean there, but I'll show like the API in action just in a sec, and then you can see the gas prices as well between the different nodes. So to show the API, actually, before I do that, so this works for the testnets as well. I won't show Ropsten because Ropsten recently went through a bad reorg and it's currently in a state of flux. Ropsten being Ropsten, it always messes up when you want to do a demo. So, for example, you can select Coven and you can see that the entire market and all the metrics change for Coven. So you see on the Coven, the actual average response gas price is 10 Gwei, far less amount of Ethereum is spent by day and over 1,000 link. See the transaction counts, you get the same values really between networks. So you can see like here's a new BZRX feed on Coven. Straight away what's getting a lot of transactions. You can see the same data, gas costs, rewards, like all this works for testnets as well as mainnet, which is really pretty neat. So like, I can show you the exact same things. I'm still on Coven, as it says at the top. I click this feed, I get all the same metrics. So there's only one node on here, and that's a little bug. But you get all the same metrics literally on the testnets as well, link rewards per day, like profit and loss and all that stuff. So yeah, it's mirrored. It's pretty neat. It's like same works for Rinkaby as well. I can just swap over and then boom, you get the same thing. Like feed updates, you can watch all that in real time. Really neat. Not as much ETH spent on Rinkaby and similar amount of requests. So yeah, I talked about this earlier, but we are offering this API for free. So if anyone's used Prometheus before, we tried to do a similar interface here. And you can see this is like you can enter the raw queries in, and this query here, if you're familiar with PromQL, like PromQL's like a query language in the Prometheus world where you can do anything you want to like export a metrics. So if you're familiar with that, you're going to feel right at home when you're doing this. And you can sort of just mess around and build queries and then see the responses. So by default, we provide how many new rounds have been kicked off in a day by feed. So if I just look at the top one there, like the Wi-Fi feed is roughly 44 new rounds in a day, which is pretty neat. I can change this. So response latency, so I could say feed name. Actually, yep. So all I've done there is feed response latency and then selected the Bitcoin to USD feed. Actually, I'll filter that to just mainnet. Oh. And you can see that currently any blocks is higher at quite a high response time. Then if you go down to the bottom, of course, LinkPull's down there. And yeah, then you can see like SDL are there, Fuse and stuff like that. So, you know, like anyone would be able to mess with this API. You get the actual, you know, the URL. I'm pointing at my screen again. You get the actual URL you can use to call this yourself. And let me just, it was one thing I wanted to prep and I didn't actually bring it up, but let me just do this quickly. So if anyone's familiar with Prometheus and using Grafana, like you've probably seen me share Grafana dashboards before and seen other people. You can essentially hook up your Grafana instance to our market API and use it as if it was your own Prometheus. So if we just share that up here, or it's still sharing my other tab, but let me just switch my screen here. So if you're familiar with Grafana, this won't look, you know, this won't look foreign. It's just a Grafana dashboard. I shared a screenshot of this dashboard a while back, but it's what we've used internally for quite a while to monitor all the feeds. This is our internal LinkPull Grafana instance. It's actually speaking to our, you know, to the marketplace backend. And, you know, you can just, if you run a Grafana, we're going to ship these dashboards as well. So you can just import them straight in, like into your Grafana. There's, yeah, you'll be able to, you know, essentially just use this and create your own dashboards. Like if I edit, you know, if I edit here, it comes up with the query we're using to fetch this data out. Like this is completely free. You know, the metrics are exported, so you can just use the PromQL language to build any dashboard that you want to. Like at the minute, you can see, you know, this is for the last 7 days. This might take a little while, but let's see how it behaves. But you can select like a month, for example, here. You can see, you know, the on-chain response time averages in general. And really this, you know, it gives people the flexibility to essentially build and look at the Chainlink network just in how they want to. You know, we're going to be providing the UI in the marketplace, and people will be able to use that, of course. But you know, this gives people the flexibility to build their own dashboards, and you know, like stakeholders of Chainlink, like customers and anyone else, like contract creators, you know, they'll be able to build dashboards. Oh, live tech demo, of course. Oh, I know why that is. But they'll be able to essentially use this for, you know, their own feed and create their own dashboard to pull out data that only they care about. And that's pretty much it. Let me just check if there's been any more questions. Oh, thank you for the comments, everyone, at least. I mean, I think that's it for the session. I'm on time. Insight on service agreements. Oh, thank you. I think you're going to see a lot more push around the Flux monitors before you see information on the service agreements. The Flux monitors for the price feeds, you know, make the most sense, and they're the better contract for the job. But I feel like you might be asking that question in regards to staking, but I wouldn't necessarily think that the staking is fully tied to service agreements. Yeah, thank you, everyone. And oh, well, you know what, it's worth mentioning that this is very, very nearly ready. We was looking to get it out sort of before this, but it'll be ready by like next week or the week after, really. So it'll be in your hands very shortly. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonny. Appreciate you taking the time to answer all those questions too.
Thank you.